Oh, what an adventure! Get lost with Google Maps. Good morning, YouTube. Oops, sorry about that. Wiggly wobblies. Voting day today for the federal election, but we're not worried about that. We've already voted. So what we're going to do now, you all know my electric rooftop tent here, okay? We love it to bits, but ever since new, whenever you go to plug it in, you always had to play and wriggle and push and bang the 12 volt connection, and it was hit and miss. And I've been meaning to fix it, well, for quite a few years now. And if anything has been so over-engineered to fail, it's this 12 volt plug connection. Alright, let me explain it to you. Okay, so these are the wires. That's the positive, and those ones there are the negative wires, okay? So how this is now, alright, so there's one connection point there. Now that is meant to sit down in behind that little silver thing just there. Let me cut this negative off for a second, hang on. Where's me side cutters? There it is. Let's just hang this here for a second. It's hard to do stuff with one hand. Let me just cut this off out of the way. Okay. Alright. Okay, so that is meant to sit down in behind there like that, okay? Alright, so that's one point of connection. Then you've got the spring. So that's 2, 3. Then you've got the fuse, 4, 5. And then you've got the pin, which is another point of connection. So that's 6, 7 points of connection. 7 points of connection between the tip of the nib to the flat of the cable. And if you do a lot of camping like I do, you can see the red dust on that, okay? Alright, it's always going to be dirty. And with 7 points of connection, look, this thing's so engineered, it's engineered to fail, okay? Alright, so what are you replacing it with, Chris? Well, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to learn out that you don't need 7 points of connection to get power out of a socket, 12 volt socket, to a lead. So what I'm going to replace it with is something really well engineered now, okay? Alright, we have 1 point of connection. Now the wire is soldered to the nib, and the nib moves up and down. There's a spring inside. The spring's got nothing to do with it except spring. So here there is 1 point of connection, and that's the end of the nib, because the nib just goes through on a slide with a spring that lets the thing move up and down, but the nib is solidly soldered to some very nice tinned copper wire. So that one is designed not to fail. That one's designed to work and work and work and work and work every time. This one, with all its different points of connections, okay, evil. That's an evil thing. That's designed talk about over-engineered, okay? That is way over-engineered for the job it's got to do, and it's engineered to fail. And just a simple thing like that. I mean, sometimes we'd spend 10 minutes just trying to get power out of the socket, okay? Now, I know there's nothing wrong with the socket. I know there's nothing wrong with the lead or the control unit. So it had to be in the plug, and once pulling it apart, it's so easy to see why this thing failed so often. Alright, so I'm going to fix that. It's going to take me about 10 minutes. I'm going to get this one here, which is a pre-made. I'm just going to cut it. I'm going to bare a couple of wires here, and I'm just going to use some soldered butt end connections, which are weatherproof and waterproof here, and you put them on with a heat gun. They're glued so they get a weather tight seal. That solder melts, goes into the tinned wire beautifully, and makes a lovely waterproof, dustproof connection. Okay, so there's the end result. Instead of 7 over-engineered connections, 1, the tip of the pin. We're going to test it. I'll turn it on, Ziggy. Hang on. You just plug that in there. Okay, I got the button. Up and down. Now, it would have been great if it was like that when we first bought it, eh? All the problems we've had over the years, and I finally got around to replacing this badly over-engineered bit of rubbish plug with something so simple. 1 connection point. You gotta love it. Alright, keep that.